relief items are being given out. A survey.
Right, absolutely. In fact, Ambassador Pradeep Kapur, former diplomat, is also with us in the broadcast, and I'd like to hear it from you, sir. Of course, the first relief material has now been sent out by India, 15 tons of it, including bandages, urine bags, so on and so forth. So it's really time for everyone to come together and help and extend as much help as they can. Your thoughts, sir?
Yes, indeed, Sabri, it's a very serious matter because our countries have bylaws and regulations, and municipalities have rules about construction. Now, when I was ambassador in Chile, they had bylaws which said that all buildings have to have construction code, which is earthquake resistant and earthquake proof up to 7 Richter scale. In India, we don't have such rigid requirements. So the fifth biggest earthquake took place when I was ambassador in Chile, and that was about 8.6 Richter, and the damage that occurred was not as much as would have occurred in any of our countries. And in such an earthquake, millions of people would have died. But there, the number of people also who died was very, very small because of the stringent measures that they take in the building code. Now, the airport, for example, of Chile had got an exemption, and they had not adhered to this requirement. So they had built an airport which was about 6.5. So that airport completely collapsed and no flights were able to go in and out of Chile for about 10 days out of Santiago. So that created a lot of disruption and havoc. But our own house, for example, had some cracks. Some of the tallest buildings, like which were, 55, 56 floors, they were vibrating on their base very, very massively. But they didn't break, they didn't fall, they didn't have any great damage. Some buildings had some damage, but that was very minimal. Now, our countries are not so capable of, resisting these earthquakes, high intensity earthquakes. In India, we have fortunately developed the capacity for disaster relief, which is about the best in the world. Very few countries can match the capacities which India has created in disaster relief, not only for itself, but for helping other people. So we are the first of the ground always in most of these cases, reaching relief to any country, bringing them succor, bringing them medicines, bringing them relief material, as you have mentioned. So we are very fast. Even sometimes the Indian ambassadors find that our relief arrives even before the local relief is galvanized. So it is that rapid. So to that extent, we are a role model country for helping other countries in these sort of situations. Also, the Ministry of External Affairs has a 24/7 control room which is set up immediately to help any Indian nationals who are trapped in any of these places, who need any help in any way. So they can call up, there are a lot of telephone lines which get advertised, and any Indian national can call up these lines at any time. But talking about Myanmar and Thailand, yes, Myanmar, I've been on quite a few occasions, even when I was, looking after the Southeast Asia region, or when I was ambassador in Cambodia. And I've seen the new capital was built in a way that the ministries were very far apart. Naypyidaw is the name of the capital, a very beautiful place, huge roads which were capable of being converted to runways at short notice. And the primary purpose of making those huge roads was that planes could land, military planes could land to tackle insurgency. And that is what is happening in Myanmar. So for Myanmar, it's a double whammy. On the one hand, there is so much of disruption of the entire country by rebels, by all these other forces, and by the vested interests globally. The Chinese have their own vested interest to disrupt Myanmar. The Americans, the jihadis, the Rohingyas, the Christians. So it's a boiling pot already, and then they have their internal difficulties, and the junta there is trying to, take charge. But under such a complex situation, which is already very, very difficult, to have an earthquake of such a magnitude becomes very complex and even more difficult to manage, because you don't know who's the controlling authority. In some of the cases here, at least, we find that the military is still in charge in those cities where the maximum devastation has taken place. But in the remote areas where it's the rebels who are, controlling, it will be very difficult for aid to reach there also. So there are too many complexities involved. People have to see that. The other aspect which I want to point out here is that a lot of the spiritual leaders in India, the spiritual gurus, have been warning that this year 2025 will be a very difficult year for the world. There will be many calamities, there will be many disasters, and there will be many problems in different ways. And we have seen that from January 1st of 2025, when planes have been overturning, when a plane has been crashing with a helicopter. In Washington, D.C. also, where I am, I have seen so many issues which have come up since January 1st. So I guess it is prudent for most countries and most people to be extra careful, because there are a lot of unusual happenings which will continue to happen this year. And this is one of the happenings which has happened in our region, in our neighborhood. And India, of course, will step up to the act very, very quickly, very fast, very efficiently, and do all that is required to be done for Myanmar. And if Thailand
Right.
also asks for any help, India will do that also. Back to you, sir.
Absolutely, sir. Requesting you to stay on with us. We have some more breaking news coming in, where UN teams ramp up response to deadly earthquake in Myanmar and Thailand. The emergency relief coordinator